what trauma is, what causes trauma, and how you can begin to take the next relevant steps to releasing, reducing, and letting go of any trauma that has or does continue to hold you back in your daily life. So if you are watching this on repeat, you are watching from Instagram. If you are watching over here, you are watching from YouTube. Let me just get the camera a bit better. 1 second. But yeah, anyway, how's it going, Holly? How are you? But yeah, I'm just going to be diving into trauma, what it is, how it works, and how you can begin to take the next logical steps to releasing your trauma that you currently have. So if this camera falls over, how's it going? Oh, dropped it. There we go. 1 second. So trauma, I'm just trying to sort out both cameras. This is the beauty of doing them both at the same time. Always fun. There we go. Come on, focus on my face. But yeah, trauma in itself is an emotional response to something that has happened. So something, for example, like the emotion that we link to an event in itself. That could be something like war. That could be something like being attacked. How's it going, everyone on YouTube? How are you guys? And how is everyone on Instagram as well? I'm two-time in the live stream. But for some reason, I can't quite get it's much better quality on my phone. Come on. It's because there's no card in the camera, so it won't focus. Let me go out of the screen. 1 second, everyone on Instagram. There we go. Catch my face. Come on. How's it going? But yeah, really realizing what trauma actually is. This can be a natural disaster. This can be something that's happened. This can be someone attacking us. This can be abuse, bullying. And I will be going into a lot of, I'll give you a big list. I've got a list here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 different things that could potentially cause trauma in our life. So, and also the different types of trauma, all that kind of stuff. So not everyone that does experience some sort of thing, some sort of anything that goes on is going to experience trauma or PTSD or trauma-related symptoms. Not everyone will. But the people that do, it's their perception on the event. Now, I'm not taking away the pain of the event because the event that has happened is clearly painful. If you can get trauma from something, it's clearly a painful event. So it's not about saying that the event's not painful. The event's not anything. You're having an operation on Thursday and I'm freaking out. Operations, they're perfectly safe. They are perfectly safe. I've had I think 1 or 2 before, so you will be fine. You're in perfectly good hands, I'm sure. And it's just really allowing yourself to go with it. But there's a few things that I'd recommend for you to message me if you do have any struggles with that whatsoever. You think you have experience or experiencing trauma, and that's the thing. This is what I like to explain to people is. It is okay to experience some sort of trauma, and it is okay to experience some sort of pain in our life. And it's about how we release that. Sorry, guys, I'm really trying to sort this out. I should have done this first. Come on. It really doesn't want to work. But yeah, it's going through the trauma of what's going on in our life. And realizing, do you know what I mean? Like even right now, this stuff is it's getting all over the place. And sometimes we just have to realize that we just mess up at times. Not related to trauma at all, but just that we do mess up at times. And realizing that the symptoms that we develop from trauma can be physical, they can be mental, they can be emotional, and they can be long-term. Now, they're not always long-term, and they're not always going to be long-term. Some people can recover from a trauma in a few days. If you don't necessarily recover in a few days, then it's a potential long-term effect. But can you still recover from a long-term effect from some sort of traumatic event, or from a bunch of smaller or a bunch of big traumatic events? The answer is yes, you can recover from all of them, any and all of them. But some will be a lot harder to recover from, and some maybe a little bit easier to recover from. And it doesn't necessarily mean that some certain events will be easier to recover from. And I've just noticed, I'm not sure if you guys can hear me on YouTube, actually. I haven't even plugged in my microphone. That's how unprepared I was today, guys. I didn't even plug in my microphone for the YouTube live stream. So what can you do? You can hear me. Oh, anyway, let me give this a go anyway, because this is the better microphone. It should be a bit better. Let me know if you can still hear me or not. Can you still hear me on YouTube? Testing. But realizing it can be a bunch of all these little events. It can be a big event. It can be a combination. It can be all of them. And this is what's going to cause us harm in our life. Now, if we don't heal trauma, what's going to happen? We're going to be constantly playing out what we've been feeling at that specific time. Now, when we think about the traumatic event, the body is emotionally and chemically or the chemicals from the event are coming back up through the body for you to feel the trauma of what's going on. So your body thinks you're in the event still. Now, when you close your eyes and you get yourself into a still state of mind or a heightened state of mind, so that could be the trauma, and then you begin to bring up the event, the body doesn't know the difference between what is imagined and what is real right in that moment. So if you're going through a period of your life and you've been through something traumatic, let's say it's one big event, you will be able to bring up the emotions. So if you can do that with trauma, if you can do that with pain, if you can do that with negative things, the question is, can you do that with positive and empowering things? The answer is yes, because you can. So it's about disassociating all the pain and the trauma from the past and reassociating it with something more powerful, something that's going to help you and something that's going to serve you. Now, this won't necessarily be easy, and I'm not going to say it's easy. Healing from anything isn't going to be easy. It's healing. It is like the way that you heal a bone, it's going to hurt whenever you have a trauma to the body. And again, trauma to the body is going to be seen. Parents arguing every day used to be very abusive. And yes, that is going to cause a lot of trauma. And I can give you, I'll give you a quick list. I've got 13 things here, down from bullying, harassment, physical, psychological, or sexual abuse, sexual assault, traffic collision, so like a physical one, childbirthing, life-threatening illnesses, sudden loss of a loved one, being attacked, being kidnapped, acts of terrorism, natural disasters, war, all these kind of things will have a negative effect on you, and they will hurt you emotionally, they will hurt you physically, and they can have long-term effects on you. How's it going? So anything that you've been through, it most likely has been a trauma. And if you think you've been through trauma, you probably have been through trauma. But a lot of people tend to think that trauma, and this was my opinion, this is where I originally thought, or what I originally thought trauma was. I thought it was just related to war. I thought it was. I was like, if you hear, you come home from war and you hear fireworks, that's PTSD. I didn't know until I understood it that trauma generally is bullying. It generally is harassment. It generally is abuse, mental, physical, sexual, all those kind of things. And even going through a period of your life where, let's say you were on stage and you were doing something and everyone started laughing at you, that can cause trauma, because all it is the emotional connection to an event or a specific number of events that causes our pain. So as I said, can you release it? The answer is yes. If you can create it in here and you're not actually going through a trauma, but your body thinks it is, can you create something that is more powerful, more empowering, and can switch and sit on top of it and remove the pain and the trauma? Yes. Yes, you can. That's possible. Let me just 1 second, everyone. I think that's the one I want. Hold on 1 second, guys. No, that's the one I want, I think. Is that better quality? It just will not focus on my face for some reason. I do not know why. I apologize for everyone on YouTube. So you've got 3 different types of trauma. You've got acute trauma, you've got chronic trauma, and you've got complex trauma. Now I'm going to read out the exact things just so that I don't butcher it at all. Acute trauma is the result from a single stressful or dangerous event. So this could be getting attacked. This could be being mugged. This could be a sexual assault. This could be a natural disaster like an earthquake or something like that. Then you've got the chronic trauma, which is repeated and prolonged exposure to high stressful events. So this is over a period of time, as I said. And that could be bullying, violence, child abuse, mental abuse. All those kind of things can be chronic trauma. And then complex trauma is the result of exposure to multiple traumatic events. So most likely multiple acute trauma, including with chronic trauma, that's going to be complex. And you may have seen it called complex PTSD or something like that. And it will cause you a lot of pain. It will cause you a lot of mental, emotional, and physical pain. And the answer, what you're probably asking me is, well, how do I stop it? How do I reduce the pain? How do I let go of it? Now, there's a few free things that you can start doing as of today. You can start using the power of meditation. You can start using types of things like breath work and all that kind of stuff. When you start to use all these little things, you start to increase your chances of healing. And I always say to people, if you had a 50% chance of healing, or 100% chance of healing. Let's go 60% chance of healing. Which one are you going to go for? You're going to go for the 60%. Now, how do you get more percentage chance? You allow yourself to do as many things as possible to get there. Just like if you want to get in better shape, do you just eat healthy? Do you just go to the gym? Or do you do both? If you do both, you're going to get the results much faster. How's it going, Sherry? Hope you're well. And if you allow yourself to do more, you're going to get the results faster. It's like I say to people, we can go through the 7-week program that I run and we can get the results very quickly. Now, do you want to get them in week 3? Do you want to get them in week 6? Or do you want to allow yourself to carry on until you get to week 7? Or allow yourself to go back into your own life and integrating your work into your own life, going to week 8, 9, and 10? It's down to you. If you do the hard work right now, and like I said, healing isn't easy. Trauma's not easy to let go of. But if you allow yourself to jump into it, you jump in feet first, you can and you will be able to completely allow yourself to release it. And if you want some other types of modalities you can use, now there's all different types of therapies. The reason I personally like hypnotherapy and use hypnotherapy is because it allows someone to go back into an experience, and it wouldn't be the actual trauma itself. It will be allowing you to recreate the trauma so that you're creating a new memory, because that is actually more than possible. What's going on, Gabe, my man? Much love, brother. But that is actually possible. You have the ability to go into a trauma and actually change a memory. So if you can change a past memory, can you also create future memories? Can you also do both together? And can you also get the results even faster? Again, the answer is yes. Now, what does it take to do that? As much work as you're willing to put in. Like I said, healing trauma isn't easy. Doing all these little daily things aren't easy. It is just like going to the gym. You can get a personal trainer. You can get in very good shape from having this personal trainer. But if you don't keep up what they've taught you, how's it going? Is that, I believe it's you, Abby. I believe it's you. If you allow yourself to do what they've taught you, then you're going to keep up and maintain the results. But if you don't allow yourself to continue doing what they taught you, then you're not going to have the results, and you're going to release all what they've taught you. Basically, if you don't keep eating healthy, if you don't keep working out, then what the work that you put in is irrelevant. It's a waste of time, essentially. So my question to you would be, if you've been through anything like bullying, harassment, any form of psychological, physical, sexual abuse, traffic collisions, childbirth, life-threatening illnesses, anything like that, being attacked, all them type of things, then you most likely have been through some sort of trauma. And if you've been through some sort of trauma, what are the best ways out of this? Because it's all very well and good knowing all the information about it, and you're so knowledgeable. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's all very well and good knowing this information, but knowing it doesn't change anything. I know a lot of information from many different books. I know thousands of quotes probably off by heart. But the difference is, where does the change actually happen? When we begin to align what we know with our actions, that's when we start to get the results. So if you want to make these shifts in your life, if you want to release this trauma, if you want to let go of all this pain that is holding you back from becoming who you want to become, then my question to you, what do you think of morphic fields? 1 second, everyone. I don't actually know what that is. I'm going to search that up now. But yeah, my question to you is, if you want to release your past pain, traumas, guilts, and hurts and shames, then you can allow yourself to do that through these different types of therapies. Through, I personally believe that we do need to have some sort of higher connection to ourselves, whether that is spiritually, whether that is religious. You don't have to be spiritual to do this, but you have to realize that we're not it. Do you know what I mean? And when you go to places like AA, the reason they help people heal is they do the 12, I believe it's 12 steps. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But it's having something that is more powerful than them, realizing that we are higher beings, and there is something that can come and help us heal. That's what my offer is to you. Morphic fields. That is very interesting. I'm gonna read up on that. That is very interesting. So yeah, I don't actually know too much about morphic fields, but you have inspired me to try and learn something about it. And anyone that is exactly, everything is connected. It really is. And anyone that is watching on YouTube, I apologize for the awful camera. I can't focus on my face because I do not have a card in my camera. I didn't realize this before I started, and that just shows how unprepared I was for this, which is just part of life. But yeah, it's really allowing us to realize that trauma is able to be healed, because years ago, people didn't think it was possible to heal trauma. They thought it was not possible. You can't heal trauma. It's not possible. Once you've been through an event, you've been through an event. Once you've done something, you cannot change. But that's where we begin to make these shifts. And when we start to think differently, things start to happen, and people have healed from trauma. I've healed from trauma. I know multiple people that have healed from trauma. I've helped multiple people heal from trauma. And now's the time to really jump right in, dive right in, and make these shifts. So is it possible to have trauma without realizing in conscious that you actually have? Yes, it is actually more than possible. And also, so for example, you can experience a traumatic or an emotional trauma connected to going through surgery, because your body is going through trauma at that time. So when your body is literally being cut open, the body doesn't sleep. The subconscious mind, the body doesn't ever sleep. The mind may fall asleep, but the subconscious mind will never fall asleep. So it is always aware, regardless whether you're in and out of consciousness. So if you have gone through something when you are out of consciousness, then your body can still experience trauma. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you 100% will, and you may not, but it's still possible. So that's where people, you may not even realize you've been through trauma until you actually really do the work. And there's a lot of work to do. Healing for trauma is huge stress reliever. Oh, 100%, 100%. When you've been through a lot of trauma, things may stress you out easier. You may get anxious easier. You may feel fear a lot easier. You may feel scared a lot easier. You may struggle. You may feel stress. And this can be a long-term effect of trauma. The short-term effects are going to be, well, it's like this, for example. You break your arm, you can see the trauma. You've got a broken arm, you've got your arm in a cast, and nothing you can do. And can fears be a manifestation of trauma? Yes, I will get into that in a moment. Fears can definitely be a manifestation from trauma. But your arm can go in a cast. People know it's broken. You know it's broken. It's clearly broken. You can't see your brain. You can't see emotional scars. You can only feel them. So how do we, and I want to dive into that actually, can fears be a manifestation of trauma? And fears are a manifestation of trauma. For example, the reason we have a phobia is because we've had a traumatic event with something. I used to be petrified. When I say petrified, I would scream so loud. Like once my mum was like, "What is going on?" I was screaming like a little girl because a frog jumped on my foot. Now, I healed that trauma and that phobia very easily, and now I can go near frogs. I just don't particularly like to touch them because they're slimy. But I can very easily now, whereas before I would literally run away screaming. The reason was when I was 7, 8 years old, I was around a friend's house, and again, nothing was done maliciously, but he put a frog in a net and put it on my head. Now, when that happened, I immediately started scattering, screaming, going crazy, because all I could feel was fear, was pain, was stress, which shot my body into such a high emotional state that my body then connected to that emotion and said, okay, I'm going to hold on to this. And that's exactly what it did. For 13 years, it held on to it, something like that. Yeah, maybe longer. I don't know, until I allowed myself to release that. So when we go through a trauma, all that the body is doing is remembering the pain. That's all it's doing. So when you have gone through something that's highly emotional, and the best way you can do this with fear, but you can also do this with happiness. For example, think about to a time when you opened a present that you always wanted on Christmas, or you always wanted on your birthday, or the first time you kissed someone, or the first time you went on a date, or the first time you did something that you accomplished and you felt proud. You remember the emotional state, which allows you to remember the time. Again, another example is, I'm not old enough, I wasn't really around for this, but for example, you will not forget that we went into a lockdown in 2020. You just won't. And I believe it was March 2020. I think that's when the UK went into a lockdown. I don't know about any other countries, but you will never forget that for the rest of your life, because it was such a highly traumatic experience. And there's going to be loads of people, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, probably millions of people, that are going to experience a lot of long-term trauma from all these lockdowns. And they're going to feel a lot of pain long-term, and they will, because it's not a normal thing to do. It is not normal, which is again going to cause a knock-on effect of a lot of trauma. Now, yes, this may be great for people like myself that have these businesses, but I'd rather not everyone go through these types of traumas, because this is causing a lot of pain in the world. But there's got to be more people out there that can help heal that. So, like I said, if you've got anything from this live, I'm going to jump off in a moment. I've got some stuff I need to get on with. But if you've got any questions at the moment and you really want to help heal your trauma, any traumas you're going through, you have any questions, have what I got, is that a trauma? Is it a trauma? Have these things that I've been through a trauma? Let me know by sending me a message or heading over to my website, maxhindle.com, and scheduling a free call. We can really chat about where you are, chat about where you want to go, also chat about those traumas, so that we can help you release it, because it doesn't have to stay this way for the rest of your life. You can release this in 7 weeks. I say 7 weeks, can be done quicker, but I like to give 7 weeks, because who knows what happens. We're all individual uniques. We're all individual unique beings. That's what I meant to say. All unique individuals. That's probably where I was going to go with that. But anyone that has been on these lives, Instagram, I love you. You're amazing, guys. YouTube, I love you. And next time I will focus the camera much better. I'm really quite annoyed with that, but what can you do? You mess up at times, and it's just a great evidence that no one is perfect, and we all screw up at times. And if you watch back at the replay, you'll see me messing around with all the camera. I forgot to put the mic and all that kind of stuff. But everyone else, if you do have any questions, send me a message. Most likely send me a message on Instagram. It's probably the best place to send me a message, because I will reply on that. You can't send them on YouTube. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. Keep being amazing. One last question. Sometimes when I'm around certain people that I don't like, my heart rises. I kind of start shaking. Can that be trauma? That is most likely going to be some form of anxiety, which is caused from trauma. That's all it is. And it's not associating yourself with trauma, not associating yourself with anxiety. Oh no, not this one. So I'm on YouTube live as well. So that the camera's really, I'm literally looking at it, just like I can see my background's perfect, but I'm all blurry, which is just like, but yeah, trauma will cause anxiety. For example, the reason I personally had a lot of anxiety was I was masking it with drugs, which caused me to just continue. It was just masking the pain eventually. I went through a lot of social experiences that made I associated pain with, that I associated people not liking me, that I associated people laughing at me. Now, it depends how much we associate with it, but if you feel the heartbeat raising, you feel shaking, the reason is, are you doing this daily? What time? Potentially, I'm going to try and do it daily. I'm really focusing on as much value as I can add to people, and I'm trying to do as much live as possible. So yes, if anyone does have any topics they want me to cover, send me a message or comment, or send me a message, whatever you want to do. But yeah, most likely around this time. It depends if I've got calls, depends what work I've got to do and stuff like that. But the body has gone through an emotional time, which is going to cause that trauma, and which is going to cause, which then has a knock-on effect to cause the anxiety. So then it's realizing, when I work with you, I always say, look, we can focus on the anxiety, or we can go back, and we can go back to the trauma that started the event in itself. And when you realize, and even if you literally just get your eyes, like close your eyes, what is your YouTube channel? Just type in Max Hindle on YouTube, you'll find me. I will pop up. But yeah, that will most likely be caused from some sort of trauma. Again, I can't 100% say that because I haven't spoken to you, but it's most likely from something that's happened, an event. And I'll give an example with myself. the reason I used to be petrified of public speaking, especially on something like camera at all, was because I know the exact class, I can remember the teachers, I can remember the people, and not that they were doing it maliciously, they were my friends and they were having a laugh, but it happened quite a few times where I would do something and I would be presenting something and everyone would be laughing. Now, it was a laugh at the time, but it really hurt me emotionally, which then allowed me to attach an emotional connection to that event, which then said, I cannot public speak because I'm going to get laughed at. People are going to think I'm stupid. People are going to think this, and this. I'm glad I found your YouTube channel. You're answering my questions. I'm glad I'm able to answer your questions. That's what I'm here. I'm here to help you guys change your life. So everyone that has joined these lives, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. Any questions or any topics you want me to cover, drop it in the comments or drop it on in my DMs on Instagram. But other than that, guys, if you find me on Instagram at MAXIM1111ON or Max Hindle on YouTube, you will find me, or just type in Max Hindle on Google, you'll find me somewhere. But have an amazing day. Keep being blessed, you beautiful people, and know that it's okay to have been through trauma. It's time to heal, though. Right, that's one done. Yeah, I completely apologize about the it's really annoying. Look, you can see how blurry my hand is comparison to the background, and that's going to be the whole video, isn't it? Oh well. It's part of life. That is part of life. Right, guys, thank you for joining the stream, and I will most likely be doing another one tomorrow.